What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the Ragin Nation Show. This is Webster's. We're talking about all things mattering in the world of upcoming films. In this episode, we're going to talk about The Matrix. You're probably thinking, wait a minute, Alex, what are you talking about? The Matrix came out in 1999. It was a groundbreaking film. It was a classic. Why are we still talking about it? Well, you're absolutely right about that. It did come out in 1999. It is a classic. It was groundbreaking. But it also came out with two sequels that weren't so great, making it into a trilogy. Now, what those two sequels did was actually expand the universe. Not only did the sequels expand the Matrix universe, but there was a video game, Enter the Matrix. There was these comic books. And then there was also these animated shorts on a home video release called Animatrix. And this multimedia release expanded the world of the Matrix. It's so much more than what we saw in the movies. And that's actually a pretty interesting thing. Well, it looks like the executives at Warner Brothers are not quite satisfied with just that. And you're probably thinking, oh God, don't tell me they're going to reboot the Matrix or they're going to remake it or something. Well, yes and no. But I'm pretty sure some of you guys first saw it and you saw the article. And your first impressions is that, oh God, they're going to reboot the Matrix. No! You're probably thinking that. Well, turns out it's not a reboot. I'm going to pull up this article from a Deadline Hollywood. They're the first to report it. Warner Brothers ponders more of the Matrix. Exclusive. Warner Brothers is trying to see if there's more life in the Matrix beyond the three groundbreaking films written and directed by the Wachowskis. This is all in the exploratory phase, and it's unclear if the Wachowskis, then Andy and Larry, but now Lily and Lana Wachowski, or the original cast will be involved, or producer Joel Silver. Right now, I hear the studio is likely to create a writer's room of scribes to figure out the best possible way to relaunch the franchise. So they didn't mention anything about reboot or remake. The only thing they mentioned is that they want to bring it back. They want to relaunch it. And that could take on like many forms. For example, rebooting or remaking it. But they never said anything about actually rebooting it or remaking it. So what could they possibly do? Well, I think it would be important to see what the writer who was involved had to say about that. Writer zakpenn, who was actually involved with the Transformers Cinematic Universe, actually put out a bunch of tweets talking about it. Let's see what he had to say. All I can say at this point is no one could or should reboot the Matrix. People who know Animatrix and the comics understand. Can't comment yet except to say that the words reboot and remake were from an article. Let's stop responding to inaccurate news. If I were going to recast Keanu Reeves, I would cast Keanu Reeves. Do I want to see more stories set in the universe of the Matrix? Yes, because it's a brilliant idea that generates great stories. Look at what people are doing with X-Men universe. Between Logan and Legion and Deadpool, does anyone want them to stop? Not me. zakpenn is onto something here. First of all, remake and reboot is out of the question. The universe is vast. If he wanted Keanu Reeves, he would have cast Keanu Reeves. Are there more stories set in the Matrix? Hell yes. Deadpool and Logan and Legion, they did something great for 20th Century Fox. And that is go beyond the X-Men. So let's go beyond the Matrix. And that is what they're talking about, or at least that's the gist of this. They're going beyond the Matrix. Look at Star Wars. Look at what they're doing right now. There's got to be more stories told beyond the Skywalker saga, and by the Skywalker saga, I'm talking about episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Beyond that, there's of course Rogue One, and then the Han Solo story, and then the Boba Fett story, the origins of Yoda. See what's going on there? These Star Wars story films, or Star Wars anthology films, if you will, are stories that go beyond that linear story. In The Matrix, there is a linear story. But what about Niobe? That's the character that's played by Jada Pinkett Smith. Morpheus, played by Lawrence Fishburne. What about his story? What about his origin story? There's more to it. You know what I'm saying? What about the Merovingian or the Agent Smith? What are they all about? There's a lot to it. And what about that resistance member that we saw in the background? There's definitely a lot more to the Matrix than the story of the One. It's a very, very interesting concept that the Wachowskis put together, and I think that going beyond what we saw is actually a wonderful idea. They're not rebooting it, they're not remaking it, they're relaunching it. And they actually should title it The Matrix Rebooted. I'm just kidding. The Matrix sequels were called Matrix Reloaded, like reloading into the Matrix or reloading your guns. And then there's the Matrix Revolutions, which suggests that it goes in a circle, like it keeps on rebooting or recycling itself. At least that's what I think the Oracle said something like that, or the Architect. But anyways, the point is that there's more to the Matrix story than just the story of the One. And as far as I know, there's a rumor that says that, that suggests that Michael B. Jordan, who was in Creed, could have a role in this. And a main role. I'm talking about a main role. And I'm thinking, like, could he play a young Morpheus? Like, I'm curious about that because Morpheus is actually one of the most interesting characters in the film because he's the one that persuades the One, Neo, to become the One. So what is his story? What is his obsession with the prophecy? I think there's a story to be told there. So that could be really, really interesting. Now, as for the Wachowskis and Joel Silver, I think at least Joel Silver should be involved. And the Wachowskis should at least have their blessing in there somehow. Because it is, after all, their idea. And they have some great ideas. And I think if Joel Silver was on board to produce, it could be a great thing. But anyways, that's what's happening. And it is moving forward. After all, they got Zakpenn as the writer. And he's putting some ideas together. They got a writer's room going on. Like, this is going to be like its own cinematic universe. So, and you know, cinematic universe is the thing now, these like shared movie universe. It's not necessarily a shared movie universe. It's more like expanding this universe and expanding it into a cinematic universe. That means there's going to be like a series of films that are coming out, which could be like disconnected stories, but essentially they share the same universe. Anyways, that's all I got to say in this episode. What do you guys think about Warner Brothers Pictures relaunching The Matrix? Should they leave it alone? I think that there could be great stories to be told. After all, Hollywood has nothing left. So what do? They take great ideas from the past and bring them back. Anyways, that's all I got to say in this episode. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace. Those musical numbers. I mean, the pacing was perfect. And of course, it had that very, very magical and Disney-like fantastical feel to it.